When the Steam Deck launched back in 2022, it showed that PC handhelds did not have to be unbearably expensive in order to have a whole lot to offer. However, with the Steam Deck showing its age in 2025 without a confirmation of a Steam Deck successor, the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which is going to come out in October, and its price confirmed being well over 1K, and other manufacturers who are also planning to release a PC handheld soon, it really begs the question about whether or not the future of PC handheld price points will go out of control. So today, I'll discuss number 1, the history of PC handhelds, number 2, whether or not I think the price of Lenovo Legion Go 2 is reasonable, and number 3, last but not least, whether or not upcoming PC handhelds in the near future will feature a tremendous price point like we see with the Lenovo Legion Go 2. Let's check it out. So the history of PC handhelds could be dated all the way back to 1989. In 1989, that was when the Atari portfolio got released. Now, as far as the Atari portfolio goes, it is a handheld computer which indeed looks and feels like a tiny laptop that you can use within the palm of your hand. Okay, the thing about the Atari portfolio is that it flaps open and you have the screen, and then you also have like the tiny keyboard, so it basically just works as like a really micro mini laptop in which you could definitely fit in your pocket. However, as far as the Atari portfolio goes, even though it ran MS-DOS, which is basically the operating system that was standard to PCs back in the day, it wasn't something that was really powerful. It could not run a lot of the modern games back in the day, and it also cost $400, which by the way, back in the day, that was a lot, because $400, I did the research to check to see what $400 meant for 2025, and $400 back in the day is actually $1,042 converted to today. So even though the Atari portfolio, it cost $400, it doesn't seem that much, but keep in mind that it was back in 1989, and back in 1989, you know, $400 equals to over $1,000 today, so that was definitely not a cheap gaming gadget. And so with the hefty price, it pretty much is a luxury gaming gadget, and therefore PC handhelds were basically a niche market where it mainly appealed to hardcore nerdy fans. Now, as far as PC handhelds goes, there were other PC handhelds that got released later on in the 90s as well as up to the 2010s, but for a lot of them, they were either not too powerful, a lot of them are mostly just for emulation devices that can handle the older games, but there are also the other ones that were more powerful, but they were also the ones that will be more expensive, aka over $1,000. So the thing is that for regular people, it didn't really feel that appealing. And so as far as the Steam Deck goes, when Valve released them back in 2022, it really helped make PC handhelds become a bit more mainstream because they obviously provided a more affordable option. As far as the Steam Deck goes, even back in 2022, you got Steam Decks that can cost in between $399 to $649 depending on how much memory you want and depending on how much you want a anti-glare screen, or do you feel like it is okay to go with a normal screen that has a whole bunch of glare. That was back in the day. Obviously the Steam Deck OLED didn't come out back in the day. All of the Steam Decks were LCDs. Now you may be wondering, why does Valve have the ability to pull off having the Steam Deck to be cheaper but also well-rounded with great performance as well as great battery life? And the reason behind that is because Valve owns SteamOS as well as Valve owns Steam, the storefront itself. So the thing about them making the Steam Deck is that they don't have to be paying to use, you know, the operating system as well as the storefront, unlike the other PC handhelds from the other manufacturers like Lenovo as well as Asus, where they don't own Windows and where they potentially will have to pay some kind of fee in order to use the operating system. They only make their money from selling the actual devices. Asus selling the ROG Ally as well as the ROG Ally X, and Lenovo selling the Lenovo Legion Go. So that is the thing with Valve having the major upper hand because they own the operating system as well as own the storefront. So they can literally sell the Steam Deck cheaper and also make more money by people buying the Steam Deck and using their storefront and whatnot. So that is a brilliant idea. And Valve's plan to get into the PC handheld market really worked. There are a lot of people like me who jumped the wagon and decided to give PC handhelds a try because of the Steam Deck. And that obviously caused a lot of people to notice the success of Steam Deck. In June 13th, 2023, we saw Asus release their first ever PC handheld called the ROG Ally, and where the regular ROG Ally cost $650, they later on released a updated ROG Ally called the ROG Ally X, which basically is like a pro version to the ROG Ally, the base model, and it now costs $900. And just a few months after Asus released their brand of PC handhelds, Lenovo decided to also cut into the PC handheld market as well. On October 31st, 2023, Lenovo released their first ever PC handheld called the Legion Go. And as far as the Lenovo Legion Go, where it stands right now, it ranges in between $700 to $750, depending on which model you want to get. And as far as Lenovo goes, they went on to release the Lenovo Legion Go S back in early 2025, and that, by the way, is the Windows version. And in May 2025, Lenovo released the Lenovo Legion Go S SteamOS edition, which basically is the first ever PC handheld to run SteamOS right out of the box because Lenovo partnered with Valve. Now, as far as the Lenovo Legion Go S SteamOS edition, depending on which model you go with, it will range in between $600 for the lower end one and $830 for the higher end one. Now, as far as the Windows Lenovo Legion Go S goes, the price range in between $720 to $900. Now, if that wasn't enough, just a few months after Lenovo released the Legion Go, MSI decided to also release their brand of PC handhelds. As far as MSI goes, they released their first ever PC handheld called the MSI Claw A1M, which released back in March 8th, 2024, and where, depending on which model you get, it will cost in between $600 to $800. And then they also followed up the MSI Claw A1M with the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, which released on January 15th, 2025, which now it is up to 1K. So yeah, it's just amazing how Valve started with the Steam Deck, and it really motivated a lot of other manufacturers to also take note with the PC handheld market. It's just something that is really cool. Now that I shared a brief history of PC handhelds and also share about where the major PC handhelds currently stand as far as the prices and whatnot, I want to transition into talking about the upcoming PC handhelds that are going to be coming out either later this year or early next year. So as far as the PC handhelds that are coming out soon, we have the ROG Xbox Ally X as well as the ROG Xbox Ally, and then we also have obviously the Lenovo Legion Go 2 that is coming out next month, and then we also have the MSI Claw A8. The thing about MSI Claw A8 is that technically it is already released, it is just not released in America. I think Germany already has MSI Claw A8, and then some other countries I don't remember, but as far as America goes, MSI Claw A8 has not reached the States yet, nor do we know much about the price point of the MSI Claw A8, and we also do not know much about the price point of the ROG Xbox Ally as well as the ROG Xbox Ally X. There are some guesses, there are some leaks and rumors, but as far as confirmation goes, we don't know. Now, as far as Lenovo Legion Go 2 is concerned, however, we know the price point of the Lenovo Legion Go 2. Lenovo Legion Go 2 brings the handheld pricing to a whole new level. As far as Lenovo Legion Go 2, the major handhelds that you want to consider is to go with the 16GB RAM that is 1TB that costs $1,100, or if you want to go with the 32GB RAM with 1TB that costs $1,350. Now, I'm not somebody who is ranting about the prices for no reason. You know, if it is a device that costs a lot and has a whole bunch to offer, and where it is a major upgrade to the previous models in which it warrants the price tag to be a lot higher, then I personally will consider the price point to be worth it. However, if I'm being honest, I feel like the Lenovo Legion Go 2 does not feel like a device which which worths to be so much more expensive than the Lenovo Legion Go 1 in a sense that it is almost double the price of Lenovo Legion Go 1. And I'll explain this real quick about what is expected with the Lenovo Legion Go 2 compared to the Lenovo Legion Go 1 and whatnot. The major selling points of the Lenovo Legion Go 2 is that it has a larger 74 watt battery compared to the 49.2 watt battery in the first Legion Go, as well as obviously the Lenovo Legion Go 2 offers an OLED screen with variable refresh rate, support for larger SSDs, as well as it has a newer chip with a better cooling system. However, as far as the Lenovo Legion Go 2, one major step back is the downgrade of screen resolution compared to the Lenovo Legion Go 1. As far as the Lenovo Legion Go 1 goes, it has a 1600p screen. However, with the Lenovo Legion Go 2, it has only a 1200p screen. Now, as far as the screen size itself with the Lenovo Legion Go 2, it is the same exact size as the Lenovo Legion Go 1, the same 8.8 inch screen, as well as it also has the same 144 hertz of refresh rate. And then also, most importantly, as far as raw performance goes, it is said that the Lenovo Legion Go 2 does not have that much of an improvement. It does have a significant improvement, don't get me wrong, but it is more so in the lines between 10 to 20% depending on the game. And so, in my opinion, I just don't feel that it really worths to spend close to double the price to get the Lenovo Legion Go 2. The price hike that has doubled the amount, I feel like, in my opinion, is that there should be at least a 50% increase to justify such a huge amount of a price hike. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Now that I shared the price of the Lenovo Legion Go 2 as well as my thoughts on it, I want to share about my thoughts about the PC handheld market as a whole. Will Asus and MSI produce their new PC handheld to have a similar price point as the Lenovo Legion Go 2, or is there any chance for them to be a bit cheaper? Now, as far as what my predictions is that I believe that MSI, as far as their company goes, it is most likely that their device that's going to come out to the States. I mean, the reason why I say the States is because the MSI Claw A8 technically has already been released. It is just not released worldwide and it has not made it to the States. I believe that Germany already has MSI Claw A8 already released there, but as far as America, it's not one of the countries that has the device yet. But anyways, as far as the MSI Claw A8 goes, we don't know the price point for American, but as far as that goes, I could see that potentially MSI Claw A8 to have a similar price point with the Lenovo Legion Go 2. And the reason behind that is because as far as MSI goes with their Claw PC handhelds, I'm just going to say that because it is a weird name to say. But anyways, as far as their Claw PC handhelds goes, they only make money when people buy the device. They don't obviously own anything else as far as the Windows operating system or anything else. They only own the device. So what that means is that they need to squeeze as much money as possible up front for the consumers to buy the device, because that's the only time that they would make money from the PC handhelds. So in that sense, with the MSI Claw A8 having comparable specs as well as internals with the Lenovo Legion Go 2, I could see that potentially their price point will be close to the Lenovo Legion Go 2, even though it could be a little cheaper because I'm pretty sure that the MSI Claw A8 does not use an OLED display. But other than that, I feel like it could be really close in a sense that it could be over $1,000. So yeah, that's what I think. But again, I could be totally wrong. Now, as far as Asus goes, now that is something that needs to be addressed, because as far as Asus goes with the ROG Xbox Ally and the ROG Xbox Ally X that is going to be released next month, that is something in which there are leaks and rumors rumors talking about how the base model of the ROG Xbox Ally to cost $550 at launch, and the ROG Xbox Ally X, the higher end model, to cost $900 at launch. And to me, when looking at that, I feel that potentially those two price points could be believable. And the reason why I say that is because Asus, as far as the ROG Xbox Ally and the ROG Xbox Ally X goes, these two devices are them collaborating with Microsoft, kind of similar to how, Lenovo partnered with Valve to create the Lenovo Legion Go S SteamOS edition. And the reason why I say this, that potentially the price point could be just about right, is because the ROG Ally X, that costs $900, and the ROG Ally, the base one, costs $650. Now, the thing about Microsoft, as far as the way they do business in the past with the Xbox, is that a lot of times they try to sell it at a price point which the consumers will be willing to buy their consoles. And they would do that at all costs, even to the point where they are losing money from every unit of Xbox they sell. Basically, what I mean by is that they build the Xbox, buy all the internals, and they would sell each console at a lower price compared to the amount of money they spend on building the device. Now, you may be wondering, if that's the case, how do they actually make money? The thing about Microsoft with their logistics behind this is to treat the consoles as a thing in which the consumers can get their foot in the door. What I mean by that is the consumers, they buy the console and then they start using Microsoft's ecosystem, whether it is subscribing to Game Pass, or in the past, back in the day, Xbox Live, where you pay $60 for 12 months, or even just buying the games from the Microsoft store. Basically, what their logistics is, they will make the money back from consumers actually using their service as well as their store, and potentially buying accessories and whatnot. And that's how they do business back in the day. Based on their past history, I can see that potentially Microsoft will discuss with Asus on the price point of the upcoming PC handhelds, the ROG Xbox Ally X as well as the ROG Xbox Ally, to find a common ground for the price point to be not too ridiculously expensive to turn off PC handheld enthusiasts like you and me, but also at the same time be at a price point in which Asus will think it's reasonable. So I could see that potentially Microsoft will tell Asus, say, look, you are selling the ROG Ally X at $900 and you are selling the ROG Ally, the base model, at $650. So why not make the price point of the new upcoming handhelds to be close to the price point of these two devices? That way consumers will be happy and they will buy into the system, and then they will use our services, and at the same time you, Asus, will not be selling those units at a loss. That could potentially be a win-win situation for both the manufacturers as well as the consumers. That's something that I could see to happen. Now, as far as Microsoft goes, you may be wondering, well, as far as the Xbox goes, they are raising the prices of the Xbox Series X and S, and I will say that honestly, I feel like has nothing to do anything related to the PC handhelds that they are partnering with Asus. I feel like that has something to do more with the economic challenges, because there are other consoles that are also going up in price. It is not just Microsoft doing so. Now, as far as people who love SteamOS, I feel like there's also a chance for them to not be too expensive too quickly. The first thing that I will say, obviously, is, if Valve were to release a Steam Deck 2. As far as Valve goes, I feel like they are currently testing waters. I know that their goal with SteamOS, they want it to just be an operating system that people can just boot up no matter if they have a desktop or a PC handheld. But at the same time, they also said that they may consider a Steam Deck 2 if there is a generational leap. So what I see behind this is that their ultimate goal for SteamOS is to have it just be something that is readily available for PC gamers, an alternative to Windows. But at the same time, if they feel like it is necessary, they will also consider to release a Steam Deck 2. And so if Valve Valve releases a Steam Deck 2, then that will potentially be something that could be an alternative that could be a bit cheaper because, like I said before, Valve owns SteamOS. Valve owns the Steam store, so they could sell it cheaper because they don't have to pay any sort of licensing fees, unlike the other competitors. However, I also feel like potentially Valve will also partner with other manufacturers to release other PC handhelds that run SteamOS right out of the box. That could be a potential as well because Valve is heavily committed to SteamOS currently, and that is their baby, so I don't see why they wouldn't do that to reach more people, especially with the chance of PC handhelds becoming more and more unaffordable. And another reason in which I feel like there could be a chance for Valve to continue to partner with more manufacturers beyond Lenovo to produce PC handhelds that run SteamOS out of the box, because there are people out there who just want to get a device that runs SteamOS out of the box. They don't want to go through the trouble and hassle of dual booting SteamOS from a device that by default runs Windows. So that is something that I feel like it could potentially happen, because that is one of the reasons why the Lenovo Legion Go S SteamOS edition appeals to some people. It's just amazing how the PC handheld gaming market just exploded throughout these few years. Who knew that the Steam Deck would be something that made PC handheld gaming to be much more mainstream? However, with the Lenovo Legion Go 2's price being officially announced, it really got me into a dilemma, because before they announced the price of the Lenovo Legion Go 2, that was the PC handheld that I was really considering to get in order to upgrade to have a better PC handheld. Don't worry, I'll still talk about the Steam Deck if you all still want me to talk about the Steam Deck. That would always be something that places a big part in my heart. But anyways, as far as Lenovo Legion Go 2, the price point, it really kind of turned me off into getting a Lenovo Legion Go 2. I now have to figure out what handheld that I want instead, because I really don't want to spend $1,100 to $1,300 in order to buy a PC handheld that doesn't get as much improvement based on my research. So I really have to just really do some more research and figure out what is my next steps, because I do want to continue to make content. I do want to continue to play with PC handhelds, and I also do want to be able to run as many games as possible, including the higher end AAA games. Not so much caring about the multiplayer aspect to it, but more so about the AAA first party games. I want to have the option to do that, as well as play indies and double A's and whatnot. So yeah, I'm really in a tough dilemma, but I will definitely keep you all posted. But regardless, I will still continue to make Steam Deck content. But yeah, friends, this is my discussion about, PC handhelds, the pricing and whatnot, what I feel like the future will hold. Let me know in the comment section below, are you still interested in getting the Lenovo Legion Go 2, even though with a hefty price, or do you feel like you will pass on it? Do you feel like the Lenovo Legion Go 2 set the standard of the price of future PC handhelds, or do you feel like there is possibly a hope for PC handhelds to be still affordable? We'll love to discuss in the comment section below. And as always, if you love these type of gaming discussion videos, I have a whole bunch of other gaming discussion videos sharing about things a lot of times pertaining to the Steam Deck or other gaming topics that I find really interesting, usually related to the PC gaming community, so feel free to check that out. I will link the whole playlist in the end screen. And as always, if you love gaming lists, gaming reviews, gaming discussions, and everything related to the Steam Deck, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so you'll not miss another video. I try to post on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time and occasionally on Fridays, so stay tuned. Once again, my name is Joe Wang from the Nomadic Gaming Guild, and game on!